Hey guys, welcome to my show. I am here today. My name is Amy Shine, for any of you who don't know me. I'm an Access Certified Facilitator, and I'm here today to talk about undefined sex. That's the topic tonight. So if any of my family members are listening, you can turn it off now if you'd like. If you don't want to, it's okay. You can listen. Disclaimer, I'm going to talk about sex in this show. So undefined sex, what is that? So I look at this area a lot because sex is one of those areas where nobody really talks about it, but we have like a lot of judgments in that area. And I take a lot of classes with Access Consciousness, and lately in class they've been talking a lot about being undefined, and how our definitions, every time we have a definition of something or of ourselves, we actually limit ourselves. Like we actually stop ourselves from receiving with our definitions. And also with our definitions, we create our definitions. So it's like we are so powerful, we are so potent that whatever we define as our reality, we then create as our reality. So I was looking at the area of sex and all the definitions I had there. And it's like, whatever I decide about sex in regards to me, I will create that as my reality because I'm so powerful. We all are. We are all the creators of our reality. So if you decide sex for me is bad and wrong, then you will actually create that as your reality. Or I'm totally fucked up when it comes to sex, then you'll create that in your relationships and as your reality. Or for me, sex is a lot of work. Okay, then you will create that as your reality. It's the same with everything, with money. Whatever you define money as, you'll create that as your reality. And literally, how do you change that? Is that you actually start to look at your definitions and start to change them and start to become undefined. So the topic is undefined sex. So if you had no definitions of sex, what would be possible? And what could you receive? And what could you have as your reality? So I was looking at how all these definitions that I've had of sex, how I've compiled them over the years, Oh, when I was younger, I liked sex this way. Oh, now I'm this age, I like it this way. Oh, I like it when I'm relaxed. I like it this way. And it's like all these definitions of sex, and what I've made sex mean, and what I've made no sex mean. And you're a success when you're having it, you're a failure when you're not. You're a success when you're having orgasms, you're a failure when you're not. And like all these definitions, and all these definitions literally come in and compile on top of you so that you can't actually have choice, and you can't have space, and you can't have this spontaneity of just being in the moment and choosing what you want to choose in the moment, or what your body wants to choose, when you have all these definitions. So I was looking at this area and I was like, oh my God, like I wonder, like if I didn't have any definitions of sex, how much more space would that create for me and for my relationships and for my body? And like how much more fun would that be if I had no definitions? So if you want to start asking yourself these questions, you could start with like, what have I defined sex as? What have I defined sex as? A lot of us define sex as copulation. Like we're told sex is copulating when you put the two body parts together. But like sex is so much more than that. Sex is actually an energy. And it's an energy you can receive. Like it's an energy of feeling good, of massaging your body, being at the beach, like dancing, eating orgasmic food, like hugging your partner, like massaging bodies, like whatever it is. Yes, it's copulation, but it's also so much more than that. So when you define sex is copulation, then that's all you can receive. You can't receive all of the rest of the amazing energy that sex can be for you. So it's like looking at, okay, what have I defined it as? Have I defined it as work? If you define sex as, oh, sex is a lot of work for me, or it takes a lot of effort, or it takes a lot of time, then every time you go to have sex or go to copulate or go to have that energy in your life, that's what you will create. You'll create the work and the time and the. So it's like, start to look at what your definitions are. And then what I use the Access Consciousness clearing statement to clear the definitions. So I look at, okay, what are all my definitions of sex? Okay, sex is work. Okay, everything that is, destroy and uncreate it all. And we run the clearing statement, which is right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And basically what that is, it's basically like a magic wand to start to clear away everything you've made good about the definitions of sex, everything you've made bad, everything you made right, everything you made wrong, all nine layers. And it's just everything just all your judgments you've piled there that you don't even have to know where they came from, but you've accumulated them over the years. And the clearing statement is just a quick way of wiping them from your world. If you want to know more about the clearing statement, you can go to www.theclearingstatement.com. So that's what I've been starting to look at. I'm like, okay, what are my definitions of sex? What are my definitions of orgasm? What are my definitions of me in regards to sex? What does no sex mean to me? And start to bring all that energy up and look at it and then be like, okay, and then clear it. Everything that is, destroy and uncreate it, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, on a shorts, boys, meows. Because if I didn't have the definitions create separations. So all the definitions I have of sex create separation between me and receiving the energy of sex in my life. It also creates separations between me and my partner. It creates separations between me and everyone else, basically, because I am not actually receiving the energy of sex in my life. I have too many definitions that are blocking what I can receive. So without definition, really, is where you actually truly have choice and truly can receive. Being undefined is actually just being in question and choosing in 10 seconds. What does undefined sex mean? It means every day I get up and I'm like, okay, if I was totally undefined with sex today, what would I choose? What would my body choose? What would be fun? And today I asked the question and I got go to the beach. And I went to the beach and I got sun on my skin and I got in the ocean. And it's like I got that energy in my world, which is just that joy and that space and that ease and that fun and that sexualness, which is intimacy with you first. Because if you don't have intimacy with you first, you can't have it with someone else. And so it's like choosing in 10-second increments. Okay, that was fun. Now what? Now what would undefined sex be for me if I was choosing in 10-second increments? And it's like you choose and then you choose again and you choose again. So you never come to definition that sex is this. Sex is when we copulate. Sex is when we copulate in the bedroom. Sex is when, I only can have sex at this time of the day, at this time of the morning when I'm like this. So it's like all those definitions really, really block your receiving. So it's like getting up every day and being like, okay, if I was totally undefined today, what would I choose? What would sex look like today if I was totally undefined? And it's really inviting you to actually be the energy of sex rather than have sex be it's something that you do. In this reality, sex is very much a doing thing. It's like, it's copulating, it's putting the body parts together. And also a lot of people use sex to prove that they're attractive or to prove that they have something or to prove that they have a relationship or to prove whatever. It's like, what if sex wasn't about proving and it wasn't about validating, trying to get yourself to be validated or trying to fit into this reality? And what if instead it was an energy that you be? See, when you're undefined with sex, you become the energy of sex rather than trying to prove it or trying to do it. Most things in this reality, we're trying to do it rather than just be it. So start to play with that, start to play with being the energy of sex, because sex is one of the two ways of receiving we have in this reality is sex and money. We receive with sex and with money. So the more that you can actually start to destroy and uncreate your judgments of sex and your definitions of sex and become undefined with sex, the more that you can actually start to receive. And the more you can receive, the more you receive you. And also then the more you can receive money and you can receive joy and you can receive ease and you can receive everything this beautiful universe wants to give to us. But when our definitions are in the way, we can't actually receive. We'll only actually receive our definitions. So if you decide sex is hard work, then that's what you will create as your reality. If you have no definitions of sex, you have choice in every 10 seconds. What is sex for me now? Okay, if I was choosing to create my reality with sex right now, what would I choose? Oh, I'd go outside, I'd lie in the sun, I'd get a massage, I'd copulate with my partner, I'd drink champagne, I'd eat dark chocolate, like whatever it is. But it's putting you in the choice in every 10 seconds and never defining it. So you never have the conclusion of what it is. And being totally undefined is really not something we're used to. We're so controlling, and we're so used to controlling everything and having definitions of everything and deciding this is what I like and this is what I don't like and this is how I like it. And we have all these decisions and definitions that we've made about us, that being undefined is actually being totally out of control. Like, to be undefined, you are totally out of control. Nobody or nothing can define you. And you can choose and choose again and choose again and choose again. And living in 10-second increments is actually one of the keys to freedom that Gary Douglas, founder of Access Consciousness, talks about. And it's really like, you got 10 seconds to live your life. What would you choose? So you got 10 seconds to create your sexual reality. What would you choose? You know, and it puts you in the excitement of it and the creation of it, rather than, okay, here's this mundane thing that I've decided about me, decided I like it this way at this time at this day. And like, that kills the energy of sex and kills the energy of receiving for you and your body. So what if you could actually start to ask, like, okay, 10 seconds to live my life, what would I create as my sexual reality right now? That 10 seconds is up. What would I create now? That 10 seconds is up. What would I create now? And it puts you in the engagement of what it is for you and what it is that is fun for you, and keeps you out of the conclusions of what you've decided it is or it isn't. And you may need to like take a pen and paper and actually start to write out, okay, what are my definitions of sex? And write them all out on a piece of paper, and then destroy and uncreate them all and run the clearing statement. What's my definitions of me in regards to sex? What's the definitions? What does no sex mean to me? You know, because it's like in this reality, you know, you're good when you're having sex, you're not when you're not having it. And it's just like clearing all those judgments and all those definitions. Because what if sex is not what we've decided it is? What if it's an energy you could receive from? And copulation is just one part of it. There's so much more to it. And I also was like looking at, like, you know, animals, you know, and how they copulate. Like when they copulate with each other, when they put the body parts together, they actually don't add anything to it. They literally like, they just do it and then they leave and then that's it. Like they don't add all these definitions to it, and they don't like plan it, you know. They just choose it. Like they're like, okay, I see another animal, you know, one dog meets another dog, and then they just like put the body parts together and then that's it. And it's like they don't add all the definition to it. Like they don't add all the thoughts and the emotions and the feelings to it and make it significant. They're literally totally undefined, you know? What if we could be like that? And that's not to say that you need to go out and copulate with everyone, but it's more just like putting you into the energy of like 10 seconds to live your life. What would you choose? What would sex be like for you right now in this 10 seconds? And so you become the energy of it rather than something that you're trying to do. Takes you out of the doing and puts you into the being. So if you have any questions after today's show, feel free to email me or look me up on Facebook, Amy Shine, last name Shine. And you can send me a message on Facebook or email me, and stay tuned for next week's show. And thanks for listening.